successful. I look for and find opportunities where others see nothing. I am a lifetime learner. I am solution focused. I see only solutions. I am a solution.
Welcome to the Be Transformed podcast. I'm the catalyst and my name is Lanre Olusola. And this is your go-to space for practical mind-transforming conversations that empower you to overcome all of life's greatest challenges. Today, particularly, we're talking about how do you overcome your relationship challenges. And in those relationship challenges, we're going to be identifying whether you are struggling with confidence, you are struggling with an imposter syndrome, you've got some mental challenges, some physical challenges, you've got some relational challenges, but don't worry. Together with Michelle, who is my guest that I'm ready to introduce, we're going to help transform your mind, transform your life, and bring joy into your life. Now, today's topic is very, very key. 101 ways to lure and to keep your man. 101. Well, anyway, I'm not the one on the hot seat. It's Michelle that is on the hot seat. Her name is Michelle McKinney Hammond, Dr. Michelle McKinney Hammond. And Michelle is a very, 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 very good friend of mine. She's a best-selling author. She's a speaker. She's a singer. She's a television presenter. And she's written well over 40 books, selling well over 2 million copies worldwide. That's right, 2 million copies. Now, her notable works include Diva Principle, Sassy. I want to hear about that. Single and Satisfied, and 101 Ways to Get and Keep His Attention. And this is what we're going to be, zooming into today. She's got a background in advertising and marketing. So when she tells you how to sell yourself and position yourself, you better listen to her. She's an expert. She's passionate about empowering individuals, and she offers great insights into relationships, personal growth, and faith. She has appeared on several TV shows. She's an actor. She's also been in numerous magazines globally. And together, the last 2-3 years, we've shot 13 episodes of a very remarkable series called The Spirit, the Science of Reality. You better look out for those series. Yeah. Welcome to my podcast, Michelle. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you? I'm here in freezing Chicago, ready to get back to Ghana, get some heat.
You better come back home, man. Africa is where it's at.
Yes, it definitely is. And trust me, everyone over here is looking for a way to get there.
Yeah, we have to come prepare home and get it ready for them to come and join us so that together we can rebuild Africa. So listeners out there, this is not just another podcast. This is a journey towards your transformation. So let's dive into this. Yeah, Michelle, I'm sure my team they shared with you a pack of digital cards that had 50 secrets and principles of the world's most successful people. And my first question is this, right? Having studied thousands of the world's most successful people, I've teased out 50 of their principles and secrets. Which will be your top 7 and why? If you can just dive into that for the first 7 minutes, let's get cracking on that.
It was hard to narrow it down. It really was. I was like, I got more than 7. What is he talking about? But I think that vision and mission is critical. If we don't know why we're here, we don't know where we're going, and we spend a lot of time wasting time and being disappointed. So I think that vision and mission is very important. You need to know who you are, why you're here, what your calling is in your life. And nothing is too minuscule. Nothing is too minuscule because it all feeds into the tapestry of life that creates the big picture. Communication is essential for relationships, for business, across the board. When people stop talking, things don't get done or things get done wrong, and we create a mess. So communication is essential. Attitude. Attitude is everything. I will be what I think I am. and other people will react based on how I see them, and it might not be accurate, you know. So it's really, you got to check your attitude all the time, all the time. Attitude is everything. Of course, knowledge is important. You got to know what you're talking about. You got to know what you're doing. Am I running out? I am, aren't I? Emotional intelligence.
Woo.
'Cause
I love that one. I love that one.
emotional
Now,
intelligence. Because if you crazy, boy, people will be running from you. You won't get anything done. Okay, so you've got to master emotional intelligence. That's critical. Oh gosh. See, I had a couple of other ones, Lanre. Um, Relationships and networks. No person is an island. You need relationships to walk together, to work, for life to work. You know, as you know, I'm quick to call you and go, why? And then you go, and I go, and I'm back on track. You know, you have to have people that speak into your life, people that know other people that can get you where you want to be, get you what you want. I've been called the fixer a lot. I don't know how I fix things, but God has given me a special grace to have relationships and networks that if someone needs something, I know how to get it. If I don't know how to get it, I know somebody who does. It's important to have
relationships.
relationships and networks. And gratitude. Oh my gosh. Gratitude will change your life. If you can, no matter what challenge assaults you, if you can be thankful for what you do have, because we're quick to look at what we don't have, we're quick to look at the problem, and not so quick to remember the solutions that we've had before, or to remember what we still have, you know. And that keeps you in the proper attitude, that keeps you moving forward. And I'd say the last one, which is my extra bonus, is take action.
Ooh,
Don't just
nothing
sit
happens
there.
without that. Yeah.
Right, right, yeah. And I could
Wow,
go
great.
on, but those were the ones that,
Wow, great stuff. Great stuff. Thank you
yeah.
very much for sharing that. So let's dive into our subject matter today. 101 ways to lure him and keep him. Now, Michelle, I mean, forever, I've heard many women on the shelf. The good girls don't have any good guys. And the bad girls seem to have all the good guys. What exactly is going on? What is it that the good girls do not get? Please help us, Michelle.
You know, it's a difficult one because the bad girls may have people, but we don't know if they're people that are worth having. Let's remember that. You know, I tell women all the time, you're single by choice. They go, no, I'm not. And I go, yes, you are. Somebody wanted you. You just didn't want them. You made a choice.
Say
You
that
know,
again. Say that
yeah,
again. Say that
somebody
again.
wanted you. You just didn't want them. So you made a choice to be alone. So I think that sometimes we have to re-examine, first of all, what are we really looking for? I think people are looking to be got, but they don't know what else they're looking for beyond that. You know, so I think that you,
Michelle, let that settle a bit. Say that again.
a lot of people are looking to be got, but they don't know what they're looking for beyond that.
Oh my God. Wow. You've got to see beyond what you
Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. So it can't just be about, I have a man in my life. What's the man like? What does the relationship look like? Not what does he look like? What does the relationship look like? What do you want the relationship to look like? What are your romantic and personal life goals with a partner? You've got to be able to, you know, every job that you go to interview for, they're looking for specific qualifications. They're not just hiring people just to have people on staff. I
True,
mean, they are
true.
very specific about their business, what is involved with their business, what it takes to make their business thrive, what type of people they need, what slots, what job descriptions. Okay? A partnership, you got a job description, and different people have different job descriptions for their partners. If some people just want a plaything, that's easy to fill that gap. Do you want a responsible man who's loving, who has integrity? What are the qualifications for his position in your life or her position in your life? These are things that you have to be very clear about up front. It's not like you float through life and you meet someone and decide if they fit or not. No. We talked about successful people, and one of them was focus. So even focus when it comes to relationships. And what that means is, even when you're not in a relationship, you're not upset about it because you haven't found what you're looking for yet. There's a difference. It's not why hasn't anybody chosen me. It's
I heard somebody say that happiness is the absence of what you're looking for, and when you get it, you feel like you've gotten happiness, but when you lose it, you feel like you've lost happiness.
right. But that's external. Happiness is external. So your joy meter has to be in place, and it has to be consistent all the time, because actually joy attracts love. I always tell people their life should be the party that everyone wants to attend. I mean, people should look at you and say, man, I want to be in that person's life. They look like they are having a good time.
Wow.
So that, and I have someone in my life that's like that. She's a very up person. She's very charismatic, and and people just gravitate to her. Men gravitate to her, and she could care less about any of them. But the fact is that she's got a magic working there, and I think that the component really is joy and a sense of self that she has. She likes herself, so people like her. I think that a lot of people don't like themselves, and they're looking for someone to like them to validate them liking themselves, if that makes sense.
Does make sense. If you don't
Yeah,
like yourself, you're telling the world that you don't deserve to be liked.
exactly. Exactly. And so a lot of people want other people to validate that likeness in them. And it has to start with you. You've got to know what your product is, what your brand is, what you bring to the party of somebody's life. And you make it look good. When we go to the store, we definitely pick things according to packaging. There could be 10 brands of oatmeal there, but you're going to be attracted to a specific package. You're going to be attracted to a specific promise, because some oatmeal tells you stuff like boost your energy and blah, blah, blah. And you go, ooh, I want that. I want that. I want that. So what happens is we buy that one. Now, the one next to it might actually be better for you, but based on the packaging and the promise, you went for that one. So now, when it comes to people, it's the same thing. Yes, people are moved by the external, but they're more drawn to the internal that exudes what's really going on inside of the person. So, because all these women were doing Ozempic and Botox and all this stuff now and trying to get skinny. And there are a lot of like what we consider overweight women who have men running after them. You're killing yourself to get skinny. What's the difference? They just like themselves. They're comfortable in the skin they're in, and they're cute as a button just the way they are. And if we could get to that place where we enjoy who we are, I'm not going to say like, I'm going to say enjoy.
Wow.
Okay.
Michelle, this is deep, because it seems like we're talking about 101 ways to layer
Yeah.
and to keep. But it
Yeah.
seems like you're talking about luring customers to buy your product, to subscribe to your service. And then you begin to talk about an organization rather than a job, or rather than looking for something that pays your bills. So you look, when you're going to seek for a job in an organization, you do your research about that organization. There is a role that is vacant.
Yes.
You read about that role, you understand the job description, then you check whether you are qualified, because
Yes.
your qualification has to meet that job description. Your skill has to align with the skills that they're looking out for. Your experience has to be aligned. Your confidence has to be intact. So no matter how much you desire that job, if you're not fit for that job and you go for the interview, you will never get it. Right.
Right.
And you always talk about, courtship is about interviewing each other. It's about getting to know each other. It's about trying to find that fit. And
Yes.
you're still saying the same thing here. You're
Yes.
talking product, you're talking packaging, you're talking branding, you're talking brand promise, you're talking job description, you're talking, looking at it more holistically. Wow.
Exactly. So let's flip the script. I know who I am, and everyone should know who they are. They should know what they require. They should know what they want. Okay? So know who you are, know what you want, and what you require, because those are two different things. Okay? What you want and what you require are two different things. Sometimes you can sacrifice some of the things you want if your requirements are being met. Okay? So let's
That's your
say,
needs. Your needs and
yes,
your wants, right?
yeah, there's a difference between needs and wants, standards, and deal breakers. Okay? So I meet someone. I know what I need in my life. Because of the lifestyle that I have, there are certain things that I have to have. Otherwise, I'll be torturing him and I'll be torturing myself if those things are not in place. Okay? It's not just about me, it's about what's going to make my partner happy too. So I'm a person who travels a lot. If you're not an independent man, that's not going to work in our relationship. If you're the clingy, needy type, that's not going to work. It might be nice when the chemistry of romance first starts, and I feel like, he really loves me. He never wants to be away from me. But that's going to get old real fast when I've got to get back into the rhythm of my life and what I do, which is very fulfilling to me. Okay? So, when I interview him, I have to see if he has the requirements for the job description that I have in my mind for a mate, and vice versa. If he needs somebody that's going to be a stay-at-home mom, I can't be hired for I can't be hired for a relationship with him, right?
Wow.
So this is really important. So I'd say the first component of attracting and keeping is know thyself, which is one of your 50 things for a successful. You see how it translates
Wow.
even into
Wow.
relationship. It's not
Wow.
just about business. It's really about how do we have successful relationships, and successful relationships are like businesses. There, you do have to know your personal brand. You do need to know what you offer. You need to know their personal brand and know what they offer to see if that's a fit. Okay? And that comes through communication, that comes through talking, that comes through the interview. When you go for a job interview, they grill you. What's your background? What have you done before? What are you capable of? Blah, blah, blah. We don't like to have the interview when we meet someone because we think, well, it's too early. No, that's a good time. Don't waste your time. Don't just go off of chemistry and then find out later, man, he doesn't have a job. Man, he's always borrowing money. Man, he doesn't want to have children.
Wow.
All of a sudden you find out all this stuff that was on your list of requirements isn't there because you were bedazzled by the chemistry and how cute that person was. Do the interview. Ask the hard questions up front. Don't waste time. Your heart doesn't have time to waste. Be
Wow.
kind to your heart. Don't invest your heart in a losing proposition.
Wow. I love this. Now, one of the most fundamental things that I've heard you say is there must be a fit between your specs,
Yep.
that is what you're looking for in a man or in a relationship, and your lifestyle.
Yes.
A lot of people compromise
Yeah,
either on
they
their
do.
spec or they compromise on their needs and their
Right.
lifestyle. And they
And then
find
later
that
down the line, they say they've outgrown one another. No, you
yeah,
didn't. You just didn't do the checking ahead of time.
properly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I always say dating is like shopping. and that there's certain things that we look at when we're shopping. The fabric. What is that person made of? What cloth are they cut from? Are they marriage material, if that's what you want? Fit. Does your lifestyle fit? Finance. Is the relationship too expensive to you emotionally? Physically? Is there abuse involved? Is this person narcissistic and causes you to question yourself and your worth? Or do they tear you down? Do they make you a better person? Are they a plus to your life or a subtraction from your life? These are things that you have to examine before you invest. When we're investing money, we check out what the stocks are doing, man. How volatile are they? Are they consistent in gaining value? You're not going to put your money someplace where it's always losing. So why do we place our hearts in the hands of people who don't know how to handle them well and devalue you?
Wow. So you're saying that we have these skills. We're just not transferring them.
Right.
We have these skills when we want to invest. We have these skills when we go shopping. We
Right.
have these skills when we're creating products. We have these skills when we're selling. But we just don't transfer those skills into this
Right.
aspect of our lives. This is so profound. Let me jump to another question. So,
Okay.
having said all of this, right? What are the top things that men seem to be looking out for in their relationships and in their partners?
Well, men are driven externally, so they do like nice packaging. But then respect. And can I say that again? Respect is high on the list for a man.
So they will
Respect,
take respect over the nice package.
I think so. To be perfectly honest, men's love language is respect. They are built in the image of God, and there's a certain aspect of God that likes worship, but also likes obedience and prefers obedience over sacrifice. So, if I keep making you feel like you're nothing because I don't do anything you say, and I'm not talking about being a doormat. I'm talking about emotional intelligence here, and this is another reason why you do the interview. Do you trust this guy's decisions? Because he is supposed to be a leader. Which means if he's going to be making sound decisions for you and your relationship, you've got to respect him. You can't, every time he broaches an idea, you say it's a bad idea and you have a better idea. Man, that guy's going to have an affair so fast, with some woman that's just adoring and says, okay, baby, to everything he says. So find the person that you actually respect, that you feel is a wise person, that you can say yes to their ideas. You don't have to do it to all of them, but there should be a respect quotient there where that man feels whole in your presence because he feels respected. Shanti Feldman wrote a book years ago for women, for men only and for women only. She did two books, and she literally did focus groups with men and asked them would they prefer to be respected or loved. And 85% of them said they preferred to be respected. To them, respect was love.
Wow. Ladies, are you hearing? You're getting it wrong. The man doesn't want you to love him. You are the one that wants love. And
Yes,
so
that's
your
right.
language. The problem is that you are trying to decode your language and trying to transfer your language, and you're trying to force fit it on him. His language is not love. His language is respect.
Yes.
And it is important for you to ask him, what does respect mean to him? For respect means different things to different men. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is
And
deep.
you have to find out. You said something very key there. Just as God has made a million snowflakes and none of them are the same, no man is the same. You can't lump men together and say all men are this way or all men are that way. Have you dated all men? You haven't. They're not all the same. Yeah. So, you know, um,
Wow.
so you have to learn about that man. This is not that. Oh, the last relationship I had, Johnny did this. Well, now you're dealing with Kofi. Kofi is not like Johnny, you know. So you've got to find out what's important to Johnny, to Kofi, you know, whoever you're with. You have to find out what's important to them. Same thing, men for women. All women are not the same, not even sexually. You know, what makes Mary go wow will make, you know, a Kosu will say, what the heck was that? You know, so you have to find out that person's combination for their inner life and how, what makes them feel loved, what makes them feel honored, what makes them feel special. You have to find out what their love language is. And everybody has different love languages. Some people's is touch. Some people is quality time. You know, so you have to find out what's going on with them, what their love language. Some is acts of service, and so they like to serve. And you're like, oh, don't do that, don't do. To them, that's exciting. They love acts of service. So you have to find out what the love language is and also what their temperament is. You know, we're doing this whole series, Love, the Science and the Spirit, and we cover all this stuff. And so you guys need to look for that. It's going to be so amazing, that show.
Yes, you need to look
But
for it. You need to look for it.
all of these things, there's a science to love. It's not just, you know, raging chemistry and hormones. There's a science to it. What are their temperaments? Are they choleric? Are they like leaders and sometimes they might seem a little unfeeling and brash, but they get things done? Or are they a sanguine? Life is always a party. They've never met a stranger, and if it's not fun, they don't want to do it. Are they a melancholy temperament where they're very critical? They see everything. You know, all the details are important to them. Or are they phlegmatic? Are they just so laid back? Anything goes. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't like confrontation. These are things that you have to find out. And when you find them out, then you know how to navigate the relationship.
You know, Michelle, I mean, this is really deep, and so let's dive deeper, right? A lot of women make the mistake that all men, once it's about sex, you hook to them. Let me get you to understand how so untrue that is.
Right.
It will get you in the door, but it will not keep you in the
Keep
room.
you. You're right.
Now, let me explain the reason why. How many hours a day can you have sex?
Maybe an hour.
Maybe an hour, maybe two. Then you've got 22 hours left.
Yeah.
What do you have to give in those 22 hours? And this
Right.
is what we're talking about. Invest in the 22 hours rather than the 2 hours.
Exactly.
When women look at their external, yes, men are lured by how you look. Then what?
Then what?
It's not
And,
just
and
about
actually, if you could master the 22 hours, the 2 hours are even sweeter.
boom, boom, right there. So it's not just about luring him.
Right.
It's about keeping him. It's not just about getting in the door. It's about owning the house
Right.
and converting the house into your home where he wants to come back home
Yes.
and he wants to stay at home every time. And you need to do your research about that particular man.
Yeah.
What will keep him at home?
Right. I
What
remember.
is the remaining 22 hours to?
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, right? The 2 hours is also very, very important.
Yes.
But the 22 hours is even more important. Please go ahead, Michelle. You want to say something?
I was going to say, too, learning his language. You know, a friend of mine said she was married to a guy named Frank. She says, I speak Franklish.
Ooh.
Because sometimes we lose people, and we've talked about this in coaching classes. If a person is an audio person or visual person, you know, if they deal with tactile things, and you have to know how to talk to them. You know, it's interesting. Some people are raised in families where the people were loud, and some people were raised in families where everyone were low talkers. And so when you're talking with a low talker, you can't shout because they think you're mad. You're just being passionate and excited, but it gets read wrong, you know? So learning a person's language is also very important. Do they see things or do they hear things or do they feel things? You know,
Do they see things? Do they hear things? Do they feel things? Are they feelers? Are they hearers? Or are they seers? And that
yes,
is their communication language. Wow.
yes,
Why don't
yeah.
you break that down a bit more?
Like, um, when you're talking with some people, they go, I see what you're saying. Okay. Okay. So, you've got to use a lot of word pictures with that person to make your point. You know, um, somebody else might say, I hear you. In Ghana, we say, mate, mate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I heard you. So now what message are you sending to them so that they really hear you? How are you breaking down what you need, what you want, what you're trying to convey to them? Some people are feelers, man. Ooh, I feel what you're saying, man. So you're dealing with them on that whole level of emotion, and So with that person, you might say, "I felt this way when that happened." Then they go, "Ooh, I felt that."
So you've got to use words and phrases that reflect images. You've got to
Yes,
use visual examples. You've got to use visual representations to
yes,
communicate with someone that sees. And you've
yes,
got to use auditory words, examples, you've got your tone, your body language, your tonality, the choice of words have to be apt when you're
yes,
speaking to someone who hears. And when you are speaking to a feeler, you've got to connect with them at an emotional level. I
yes,
feel you, and use
yes.
phrases. And you've got to tell stories that they can connect with. You've got to
Mm,
relate with them at such a depth that you can connect with. So
exactly.
let's lean into another question. What can women practically do in terms of using their God-given blessings, their looks, their gifts, their intellect, their five senses to connect at a much deeper level with men?
Well, first of all, forget about you. I know a lot of people just got upset, but relationship is not about you. And so when you meet that person, the interview is not just for you to gather information. It's really to make that person feel important and connected to you.
Mm-hmm.
You and I go, Lanre, tell me about yourself. What do you do? What's important to you? Oh, instantly now. Oh, the guy is thinking, man, this is really about me. I feel important. I feel needed. So really allowing that person to feel important, to feel needed, to feel significant. Tony Robbins teaches that, there's five needs that a person has, and that is, security, variety, to feel loved, to feel growth, and to feel significance. So when you're
Wow.
dealing with people, yes, you need to make them feel loved and appreciated. They need to know that you're interested in them. Don't just be interested, be interesting. Allow the thing to unfold in a way where that person feels that they're contributing something to you. Men are created to feel needed because that was their assignment to a woman anyway. God commanded the man to take care of her. So there's this natural thing about being needed in them. And if they don't feel needed, they go someplace else for somebody who needs them. You know. So just make finding ways to make that person feel significant as you are learning them. We learn one another, and two don't become one at the altar. It takes a lifetime to become one because there's
Wow.
always something to discover about that person. There's always something else in them to connect to. And that becomes the fun of and the excitement of the relationship is discovering these different facets of who you two are. But there's got to be a grounding there of mutual understanding. We talk about the triangle. Where are we heading? If you're over here and he's over here, and where are you heading? You should meet somewhere and then continue together. Sometimes you'll
Wow.
find out as you speak about what's important to you, that person says, that's really not what I'm looking for. And they go off. They might come back and join you on that trek together. So that's why the vision And mission has to be so clear. This is what I'm doing with my life. This is what fulfills me. This is what makes me whole. Where are you in the mix of that? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Mm,
You
mm,
know, what do you want to do? What's important to you? Finding that common ground and what's important becomes the foundation so that it's not just about how you feel every day. A business, let's go back to the business model now.
mm,
Some days a business is successful, some days it's not. Sometimes the employees are not getting along. But guess what? Nobody's going anywhere because the goal is to make the business successful.
mm,
They know if they keep working, they'll get the paycheck,
mm.
right? And so I think we bail out of relationships too fast these days. Um, you know, Things happen. People insult one another. People offend one another. I'm not going to like you every day. But what is the goal for our lives? What did we say our mission was going to be together? You
Create
know,
a mission and a vision that
hmm
drives the relationship and
yeah,
therefore drives each one of you. Wow, profound. Be interested, but be interesting. Ensure that you make the person feel important and significant. Now,
yeah,
Michelle, now, I'm sure a lot of women are rolling their eyes now. What the hell is this woman talking about? What the hell is this man talking about, man? They're rolling their eyes and they're like, "Well, you're talking about making it all about the man, right?" So let's bring it back home, right? We're talking about making yourself interesting. We're talking about making him feel important and significant. So how do women keep their authenticity whilst they're doing all of this?
Well, I don't think it calls you outside of who you are to do that stuff. What that means is that you're working on your own character. All the things that I just mentioned are something you should do with anybody.
Hmm. With
Those
anybody.
Anybody.
Not, wow, wow. So it should be a lifestyle. It should
It
be a
should be a
skill.
lifestyle. Yes, making people feel significant should be a lifetime skill. Life is not about you, but in the process of building other people, you get built. You get
Hmm,
what you give. You give mercy, you get mercy. You give love,
hmm.
you get love. You give respect, you get respect. You give help, you'll get help. Someone will be there to champion you because of what you do for others. So this
Wow.
becomes a lifestyle that you develop that it makes everybody want to be in your life, but someone wants to stay there permanently and assist you and take care of you because you do it so well. You know,
Wow.
a good biblical example of that I would have to say would be Abigail.
Hmm,
Abigail was married to a fool, and David is running from Saul, and he's been promised to be king. He's running. He gets to where Abigail's husband is and asks for some help, and the guy is just a jerk and tells him, to go away. And Abigail quickly gets the information, pulls together food, doesn't just feed David, but feeds him spiritually and emotionally and intellectually because David was ready to kill her husband and all of their servants. She says no. She had vision for his life. She knew he was going to be king, which I thought is phenomenal. How does she know that? But she says, look, one day you're going to be king and you can't have blood on your hands. So think about your future. She actually fed him in a way that prepared him for
hmm.
becoming king.
Wow.
And when her husband died and David heard about it, he sent for her and married her. Because men fall in love with you based on how they feel when they are with you. Let me say that again.
Ooh, repeat that.
Men fall in love with you based on how they feel when they're with you.
So you should ask yourself, right? How
Hmm.
do men feel when they're with me?
Right.
That's what you need to be focusing on. How
That's
do I make men feel when they are with me? And you should practice it. You should repeat it. You should habituate it because that establishes, you know, um, what you manifest with
yes.
everybody.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And so do they feel like, wow, I feel special when I'm with that person? Oh, and they give me such great wisdom because it's not just about you looking cute. What are you bringing to the party that's going to make them a better person? What are you bringing to the party that's going to make them more successful? Are you going to just drive them crazy so that they're distracted and they can't function? Or are you actually going to have a few tidbits that you contribute that make them go, oh, yeah, I should try that? You know, the Proverbs 31 woman was known, her husband was
Oh my
known to
God.
bake, right? You're laughing, but you know it's true. You know, you can't
Oh
just be
man.
silly and pretty. That lasts a minute. You know,
Don't
you
get me.
need somebody to be the
Don't get me into
cheerleader, the
trouble.
champion, the
Don't get me
confident.
into trouble. Don't let the women tune off my podcast, Michelle,
No,
because
you gotta bring some wisdom.
yeah, it seems like you're talking about a lot of women that have been schooled wrongly.
Yeah,
It's all about being pretty. It's all
right,
about dressing pretty. It's all about pretty, 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 pretty. Then what?
right,
There's too much competition out there.
right. There's
You've
always
got to,
somebody prettier than you.
yeah, you've got to bring something else to the table, honestly,
Yeah,
right?
you gotta be the
Look.
stabilizing force.
You're being socialized. You're being conditioned to think that it's the external.
Mm-hmm.
There are too many millions of women
Right,
that can have the same body as you. What
right.
else
You
do
can
you
buy one
have?
now.
Sorry?
You can
Say
buy
again?
that body now.
Yeah. What else do you have that
Mm-hmm.
can be bought,
Right,
that is unique to you,
right.
that is authentic to you? How do you make them feel? How do you make them feel? Now, life is not about men alone, but this topic is about 101 ways that you can lure and keep
Yeah.
your man. So we're speaking to you women. We're sharing wisdom nuggets with you on this topic. We're going to talk about 101 ways that men can keep their women. When we get to that topic on another day, we will drill the men.
Mm-hmm.
But for today, women, we are talking about you. Now,
Yeah.
Michelle,
Mm-hmm.
what are the most common mistakes? And I'm going to throw you on that bus here. What what are the most common mistakes that you've made in your relationships? And you want to teach the women out there not to make those mistakes so that they can avoid them and they can keep their men.
You know what? I think that one of the most common mistakes I've made is not communicating
Mm,
how I felt. Um, Not asking the right questions. I
mm,
remember um, I there was a guy that I really, really, really loved. He had gotten married on me twice to other people. He would go and come back and go and come back. And I said, "Why didn't you ever marry me?" He said, "You never asked." I said, "I'm not supposed to ask."
Woo!
I'm not supposed to ask, but it made me think of something a mentor told me. She said, I've watched you with men over your whole, for years now, and you never give men a permission to land. So, unbeknownst to me, I didn't make men feel very needed, and they never felt like I really wanted to marry them because I'm a very independent person. And
Wow.
I felt like, well, if they want to be with me, they should just say so. But I never thought about making
Ooh.
them feel safe in saying that they wanted that. You know, I never said, you know what, this is how I'm feeling. Am I on track with you or what's going on with us? Because my heart is involved now and I don't want it to be broken. I never expressed that fear. I never expressed how I really felt. And I think that in our culture now, women are very much about being empowered. Don't need a man. I do what I do. I can bring home the bacon fried up in the pan, I can do everything for myself. I just want you to buy me a bag every now and then. I've never been one of those kind of girls. So men don't really buy me things because I guess they think I have everything already.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
so it really is the presentation of how
Mm.
you present yourself. Do
Wow.
you are you honest about your needs? And And that's a scary thing, because you feel like you're setting yourself up for vulnerability and you for rejection, and so you fear vulnerability. But vulnerability is what is builds relationships. It's where let someone rescue you. Men live to be your heroes. Now, I'm good about it when I'm traveling and I don't want to lift my bag. I bat my eyelashes at a guy and say, "Can you help me with my bag?" They're always happy to do it, you know. They're always happy to do it. Oh, yes. You get off the plane and go, "You want me to take it down for you?" I mean, they're in. And I go, wow, okay. This is what I needed to be doing in my relationships. Giving that man the room to be a man in your life.
Give him the room to be the man in your life. Wow, this is deep. This is very deep. Now, let me get you to understand how deep this is. Michelle is speaking to you from 68 years of experience. Do you believe that this beautiful woman is 68 years old? 68 years old.
67. 67. Don't push me.
Uh-huh. You're going to be 68.
Yeah, that's true in August. That's true. It's coming
I
around
know.
the bend, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
just round the corner. Right. So how do you keep it all together? How do you stay beautiful? How do you stay focused? How is it that you've achieved all the things that you've achieved? What is it that drives you? What are you most passionate about? What is it that you do in your leisure time that we excuse me, that women need to learn about?
I don't know if I can honestly say I ever have leisure time. I am trying to find the off button in my brain because for me, every conversation stirs up something in me that I need to answer. Okay. And you're laughing because I know you're the
Mm,
same way.
I
Uh,
know, I know.
yeah, or I'm driven by helping people. I'm driven by helping them solve issues. I'm driven by them becoming whole and powerful to do the things that they want to do and get the things that they want. And so my brain is always like searching for those solutions for people. Um, for me, music is a huge thing, and if I would say music is my leisure, worship is my leisure, but um, I think that when you have gratitude big time in your life, laughter is important,
Mm-hmm.
forgiveness is important. You know,
Mm-hmm.
unforgiveness will put some wrinkles on your face real fast and make you sick, give you arthritis and a bunch of other stuff. You can't hold on to. And we as African people are very grudge oriented. This I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're saying, "Oh, she's an American." I'm not. I'm Ghanaian. I'm part Nigerian. I'm British, and I'm Bajan. Okay, so I got my green card. I hope I get to keep it now. I don't know, but so being grateful and keeping short accounts. This is not plastic surgery. This is inner surgery that keeps you looking young and beautiful. Letting things go, knowing when to let things go. I refuse to worry. These are things that are natural beautifiers, and we don't pay enough attention to mastering them. Then we tend to allow life to just kick us around, but we don't have to. You really have to master your life. Goes back to that emotional intelligence once again, um, and releasing yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't require more of yourself than God requires of you. You know, people will put you in bondage with their requirements and expectations, but you know, what do you require really? Not that much. And I think that when we keep short lists, that becomes a beautifier. And what it also does is it enhances your relationships because it allows you to allow others to have their humanity. And humanity is flawed. So that
Wow,
means that they could
wow.
make mistakes. You know, don't expect divinity from humanity. Perfection is only from one, and that's God. That's only
Wow.
perfect.
No man is perfect.
No
Only
man is
God.
It's
Yeah.
perfect. Wow, we run out of time, Michelle.
Oh,
One last question for you. One last question for you. If you could go back in time,
hmm,
and you could go back in time to advise your 25-year-old self, what one thing would you tell her to do differently? Your 25-year-old, your 35-year-old, your 40-year-old. What one thing would you tell them to do differently when it comes to men? One thing. One thing.
I would say listen to that inner voice. It's
Ooh.
never wrong. We press past it. We
Ooh.
press past what we know and find out later that what we knew was what we knew. And it hurts.
Wow. Wow. Profound. Profound. Listen to your inner voice. Develop a relationship with your knower.
Yep.
He knows much more than you
Yes.
think that he knows. Thank you very much for your wealth of wisdom, Michelle. Thank you to all the listeners out there that tuned in to listen to us. Remember that transformation begins with you. If you found today's conversation with Michelle of value, make sure you don't keep it to yourself. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. You go to Spotify, you go to the Apple channel, or wherever you are watching or listening this podcast from. And together, let us transform lives by transforming minds. Wow. Shalom. Have a wonderful day. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
I am successful. I look for and find opportunities where others see nothing. I am a lifetime learner. I am solution focused. I see only solutions. I am a solution.